Welcome to Oldsmob 455, continuing on this 442, and it's Halloween day, and it's starting to get cold out, and we're just trying to strip everything down, get them in primer so we can get all these parts stored away while we work on the rest of the vehicle. Upon grinding the paint down, you always find more stuff after you've been stripping it, and you'll see where water sat in here and sand, and we got rot holes through here. So we got to find out how far this goes until it's decent metal and make another patch.
So if I can push through anywhere, like here for instance, we know it's rotted. I don't think this is rotted down here.
Well, we'll find out after we cut a hole and we can look in back.
I think our patch is going to be something like this. What's this? You want it? Oh. It's rotted right up to the edge there. That's like a crack there too. Here's, you uncover dimmers everywhere. A lot of these we can tap out and make shallower.
The whole fender mount is welded in the back of this. Yeah, I mean, it goes way up to here. So as I'm cutting, we're gonna be exposing, you're gonna see this whole bracket. So you don't wanna hack through both of them.
Yeah, this is right on the seam, so we're gonna have to go shallow here. Okay. I think the rest of it will be okay.
All right.
Who drew those lines on there?
I don't know. The other day I was looking at the video for Oldsmob 455, and I panned down and it says, my wife thought there was a video of a dentist's office. There was so much grinding noise going on. I should have earphones on because this is loud. That's a bummer, but we'll have to clean this all out. Put some weld-through primer in here. We might have to patch that little hole.
We probably could have went up a little bit higher, but
and still take a die grinder.
We got it all.
So if you were working at a body shop and you can't waste your time diddling around, you got a hole here already and a hole here, you just make this round and it would let it drain better. But he's gonna patch it and spend the time sanding it out and everything. But he likes everything stock. But we gotta get in here and clean this all up, clean underneath here, and I'm gonna go make a patch while he's doing that, and then we'll weld it in, and then we can keep on going.
It doesn't look bad like that. We're gonna patch it anyway. I was looking at the other fender, and it's perfectly flat all the way across here. So we're gonna have to bang this straight. Tweaked up a little bit here. Calling that good enough. We gotta beat this straight. Just get a gap there. And make it look like this. Perfect now. There's kind of a depression here, and now it's nice and straight.
When it comes time to making these patches, I took a piece of paper and I used my dirty finger to make it, and I cut all the magic marker away, and you think, oh, she's gonna drop right in. Well, they don't. You gotta keep on going back and forth to the grinder and getting it to where this patch will just drop in, and then you won't have as much body work to do. So I gotta keep going back to the grinder. You use magic marker, you mark where you need to take some off, and I gotta take this whole top edge off. There might be like a big hole here he's gonna have to fill, but it never comes out perfect. You gotta keep on working on it till it just drops in.
Is that weld through primer we put on the back side of that?
So here's where this was rusted out, and we patched it. And then this was buckled in, and we pounded out. Now this has to take a curve, like an S shape. But this is where it was really kinked up. And that's gonna be our problem. It's like the metal's been overstretched. And we'll see how that comes out with Bondo. A few dingers we knocked out up there. So we're gonna lay some Bondo on here. Then next time I show up, we'll sand this out. And I got the door all done. So if you're gonna be doing primer, you might as well have more than one item to spray, because you know, just mixing up a little bit of paint to do one thing is kind of ridiculous. So hopefully when I get this done, then we'll do both.
Just got done knocking down this passenger fender. I think that split there was from when they formed it. Same with those two little guys. I'm gonna weld them up. Other than that, this fender is near perfect. Didn't even take any Bondo off of it. It's gonna need a little bit right here in this dent. Very nice fender. I held a piece of copper behind this one, filled it in with wire weld, ground it. These I just kind of hit ground. No more cracks. We're gonna knock this down now. Looks like that little pinstripe was about maybe 5/16. So it's spaced out about 5/16. So we're on the 2 there. It looks like it was maybe 5 7/8 wide. So just for the record. It's pretty good shape, except somebody cranked a screw through here and then punctured the outside. So we need a bit of weld there. These too, I don't know if I should weld these down or not. You can see there were no missed holes or welding going on where the emblems were. Basically perfectly spaced holes.
All right, we're knocking these out, got them blocked out. They're an 80 grit right now. And we got this to compare over to there. And this was the one that was wrinkled up. We got this pretty well straightened out where the patches were. And then we're gonna, next phase will be the black primer, epoxy primer.
Well, we're gonna drill out that other fender through that Bondo so our holes are exposed.
Up and back, and he's knocked it down. We're just gonna check to see if we got high or low. So you can see it's a little high. We can tap it down.
We have the outside of these 4 pieces in epoxy primer now. And all the mistakes really come out. I mean, you can see right where the Bondo is here. Here's that door.
Show them down the lengthwise. We didn't even see the dingers.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it on film, but there's
Dingers all
probably
the way
2
down.
dozen dingers that we didn't even see when we were,
Bare steel.
yeah.
It's just depressing. But you should, you know, a lot of people say it should have never got that far. It should have been where you guide code it and find all these. We'll do that later when we end up putting the heavy primer on there. And I learned, let's say if I'm gonna be doing Bondo, instead of, you know, you sand it and then you kind of break through it, or you got a little hole, I should be Bondoing from one area all the way to the other. Just know that piecemealing, you know, a little spot here and a little spot there, it shows up. I'm not good enough. So I'd have to have the whole thing with a layer and then block it from one crease to the other so that you don't get wave.
That piece turned out pretty good.
Yeah, we didn't have to do much on that. This one, I thought I had it perfect. I had it feathered out, and when you look at it with paint, it looks like I did it with a butter knife. It's depressing.
I mean, look looks a lot better than it did, but it needs a lot more work. Shifting all the stuff in here, and here's a beer on the belt sander.
Well, I was just saying, I've heard of guys that had beer laying around and all of a sudden their paint is wet and the beer hits the ground and splashes up, lands on the paint job. I've heard of guys coming down off the ladder because they're painting something big like a camper or a trailer, and all of a sudden the lid came off the top of the paint cup, and then he bumped on the thing and splashed all over paint. And then trying to wipe it off. I've been at guys' places with body shops, and they're doing a custom paint job and everything, and all of a sudden he's putting this clear on, and all of a sudden there was a reaction, and it just started reacting and curdling up and getting cloudy and milky and everything, and all of a sudden he goes, "Everybody on deck," and we were like hands of, we had gloves on and stuff, but using lacquer thinner and trying to just take it back down to the primer because they didn't know what kind of reaction happened. But you name it, paint can really, mess with you, and it's really depressing.